Today, we are talking about evolution and just kind of the impact that it's had on our culture, how it's affecting our children, what we're being taught that is just not truth. So, we're trying to bring some of the truth to light. How do you think evolution or the teaching of evolution has impacted our culture?
Well, it's started off by making children and adults believe that there are certain presuppositions that would deny there being an existence of God. So, the Earth's millions of years old, the universe is billions of years old. And it just, from the beginning, denies that there could be a creator. And it, in my mind, takes just as much faith to be an atheist and believe in evolution as it would to believe that God created the universe.
Absolutely. I mean, when we talk about evolution, like it literally is its own religion, right?
Well, I would say they're just as dogmatic as a lot of people that are religious.
Yeah.
But they have their end goal in mind, and they defend that end goal. There are millions of years, and the materialistic worldview that everything is just material, matter, and energy. There is no greater consciousness or spirit behind anything, and everything just came from matter, and there could be nothing else but matter.
Yeah.
It denies the existence of or possibility of there being a God. But they defend that end goal with a religious fervor, I would say. Put it this way, if they find things that deny what their beliefs are, they will find any way around it to make it appear that their end goals are true. So
I would agree with that. And I mean, with people in Christianity and religion too, there are people who are so far dogmatic, like you said.
it goes along with atheism.
Yeah. They're very close-minded to where nothing else can be possible. And so they're just trying to formulate whatever scientific means they need to get that end goal to prove that God is not real, right?
They don't want to have to answer to a higher power for, when it really gets down to it, for the way they behave or act. They don't want to act like there are any moral laws that govern us all, even though we all know we have a feeling of what is right and wrong in us.
Right.
They don't want to have to be like they answer to a higher power. But when you dig into it, like I said, we all know what is right and wrong. And we all have these moral truths that we find that are self-evident across all cultures. They're not just socially derived. Murder is wrong. Stealing is wrong. We know they're wrong. And why is that? Why is there a moral background that we all understand? But yeah, some of the things we'd like to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about, especially because we're both parents, obviously, this is something that we worry about. I know a lot of parents do. What your kids are being taught in school. Why is it they're not teaching creation and Christianity in school, but they're so dead set and, all the textbooks as well. This has been going on for a long time. This is nothing new either. Dead set on teaching evolution.
It goes back to the 18th century. I mean, this is way before Darwin that we had this thought process. And Darwin did rightfully see that we have adaptation, but that is coded in DNA. There was a coder. One of my favorite quotes from Werner Heisenberg, Nobel laureate and father of quantum mechanics, was that take a first drink of natural sciences, you will become an atheist, but when you get to the bottom of the glass, you will see God there waiting for you. And I think that's part of our issue is, we have kids taught just a little bit, just inch deep into that glass of natural sciences, and it turns them into atheists. They don't get deep to really understand the integral parts of everything working together in the mind behind science, and how just spectacular it is. So, I love teachers and they do a wonderful job, but, teachers go out of their textbooks and they teach the next round of teachers, and they only dig in an inch deep into that cup of natural sciences. And we really just don't dig in deep to see how everything is much more complex than we ever thought. Darwin, his time when he was looking at a cell, it was just a glob. So we thought, it just came as a glob up out of the oceans, struck by lightning. and life would just spring into being from non-living matter.
It's just really
Um,
demeaning. Like, do you really think that's all we are?
well, they didn't understand the complexity of a cell. These are micro machines that are so complex. I mean, one cell is more complex than a space shuttle. We know that now. Um,
Wow.
and it's all integrated. You can't have one part without the other. You can't go slow stepwise and create a cell, nor DNA, just a little part of a cell. Um,
So obviously, I mean, children aren't going to be taught that in elementary school. So it's understandable that they're going to go, just the first layer deep. But like you said, then they're taught natural sciences and, you know, are more pulled into evolution and not Christianity. And I mean, it's really sad. All the kids who are not brought up in a Christian home don't know any better. They just don't know any better. I mean, our daughter, she last year was texting me, this is what we're being taught in class right now. And I know that it's wrong. And had we not raised her properly, then she would not have known to text that and to, talk to me about it and know that it was wrong. So I'm really grateful for that. But it's our responsibility as parents to be teaching our children this and not just letting, the teachers teach our kids whatever it is that they're being told to teach them. Because it's our responsibility to teach them on a deeper level, not just Christianity, but the facts about science too. And if you don't know, you don't know, and that's why we're getting this word
and I
out.
think it's very important. We want our kids to be taught science.
Right, right,
With science is very important. But science is something that's, um, you know, something you can test, something you can demonstrate, and something you can reproduce. Evolution does not fall in those guidelines.
right.
You're looking at rocks. These rocks don't have ages on them. You have to superimpose your beliefs on those rocks. We can run tests on rocks. You can see their chemical makeups, but they don't come with a tag that says these are, 8 billion years old.
Right.
We use chemical processes, radiometric dating to try to determine what we think these rocks' ages are. And now we can just test those presuppositions too. And we're finding the more we learn that evolution does not fall into something that is testable, demonstratable, and reproducible. When you check these methods, they fall utterly flat. We can test and try to describe whether non-living inorganic material through a mindless, unguided process can spring into life. Miller-Urey experiments tried to do this in the 1970s, and they didn't do it. It made a bigger mess than what they ever thought. And we can get into some of those details, but whether it be the beginning of time, matter, and space, beginning of the universe, the Bible had it correct at the beginning. There was matter and energy and space created all at once. It's in the first line of the Bible, but science didn't catch up until the 1960s, 70s, with Einstein going to visit Hubble and discover redshift using the Hubble Space Telescope. But science has caught up to say there was a beginning.
Right.
And, it breaks laws of thermodynamics to say that matter and energy were created from nothing.
Yeah.
And it's quite hilarious to listen to best scientists of our day talk about the definition of nothing and how nothing sprang into existence. Well, we're like, it's not possible. It's just a conundrum. And it seems that all of evolution is a conundrum. There's a chicken and an egg problem throughout all of evolution. All of evolution. DNA needs proteins to open it up and read it for it to work, but yet DNA codes those proteins to open it up and read it. Which came first? One of my favorite analogies is looking down a little personal training and looking at pictures of the human body. What came first? What did DNA and a mindless, unguided process learn as a mind, unambiguously happen upon? Was it the coating of bones? Was it to hold up our structure? The coating of muscles and tendons to be able to move our bones, to move our structure where they were supposed to insert? Or was it, the circulatory system that was supposed to supply the muscles with the ability and the energy to be able to move our bones around, the heart to pump it around, was our lymphatic system, keep it all protected. It's just everything was created and it was perfect from the beginning.
Perfect.
and everything had to be in place. The more we know, the more we understand things, they all had to be in place for life to work.
Right.
Can't go through a step-by-step process to get living organisms. You
Right.
just can't, you know? I mean, the obvious ones are sex. Like, you know, sex didn't just pop up both sexes at the same time. In millions of years of little changes, you didn't just get the, you know, organs for human reproduction and women and men at the same time, and then they mated and came
Right.
together. It just can't happen. One of my favorite analogies is using Scrabble pieces, and you know, to however many Scrabble pieces you need, millions. I don't know how many it would take to do this, but you know, all the letters, punctuations, all the grammar, and you get to throw down these Scrabble pieces as many times you take. Billions and billions and billions of dropping of Scrabble pieces, but I need you to write Romeo and Juliet of Shakespeare. I need you to do it once. Just know it's impossible. The
Impossible.
DNA is three.
And not just impossible, it's not duplicatable, right? So again, it's not science.
We've never demonstrated the origin of time, matter, and space. We've never demonstrated even macromolecules coming together. You know, Miller-Urey experiments and further experiments down the line have tried to show amino acids being formed, you know, from what they thought the prebiotic fluids would have been like, getting struck by lightning over and over. They end up making a black better term, a gobbledygook, tar and things that are just the antithesis of life, and they would just kill all life. But you know, we'll get an amino acid and they will be right and left. So there's a chirality problem. And just basically when you do chemistry, you'll get a right-handed and left-handed molecules, amino acids, carbohydrates, lipids that affect our same thing, but they're in opposites in 3D dimensions. And life only uses one type. And there's no way you can just get it to where everything will use one type. Where I try to point out that scientists will back their evolutionary theory with a fervor, they will say, you know, they'll just push out this burden of proof. Well, you know, left-handed amino acids more commonly come from outer space. It's probably what happened. They just came from outer space and then life just used them. I mean, in one of my last classes in my degree in cell molecular biology, you know, we understand it so complex. I mean, it's code. It's so much more complex than anything we can understand. That on the bonus question for a test, like, you know, where could this DNA molecule come from? And, you know, it probably came from aliens or asteroids. So we
How
need to push the
ridiculous
burden
is
of
that,
proof
though?
off.
I mean,
That's what we think.
and you and I had this discussion last night too. Like it's almost laziness, right? It these scientists not
Anything but God. That
anything but
can't be
God.
an
Yeah.
answer because we can't explain God with science. Though I would say you can't do science without God because we have a mind. You know,
That's good.
math explains everything in our universe. And without a mind, you don't have math. You know, you don't have laws. One of Einstein's most famous quotes is, the only thing incomprehensible about the universe is that it's comprehensible. So the fact that everything makes sense, it's all ordered.
Yes.
As if a mind produced this. You can't.
Correct.
If everything was an unguided, mindless process, you wouldn't have laws that are so perfectly finely tuned for life. I mean, things, and people don't understand how finely tuned for life. But it's not just gravity. There's, you know, strong, weak molecular forces. There's all these laws that govern our universe, and they hold it in place.
And they're perfect. And if one is slightly off, life doesn't exist, right?
To give you somewhat of a picture of it, gravity, if we took the force of gravity and stretched it out however long we think the known universe is, you know, 3 to 5 billion light years across, you had a measuring tape, the length of the known universe, billions of light years across, and you had the level of gravity in the middle. If you moved it an inch one way or the other, this is from modern day physicists. They said life would not exist. The universe would either expand into nothingness or collapse on itself. So the finely tuning is extreme. But they'll just push it off and say, you know, there's a multi-universe where multiple universes pop up with all sorts of laws, and eventually you get the right one. Just those Scrabble pieces being tossed end of the era. Eventually, Romeo and Juliet will be written perfectly. Not one
It's
word
so
at a
ridiculous.
time, but
It's
all
so
at
ridiculous.
once.
And honestly, it's a lack of respect. Like when you don't respect the just phenomenon of life itself and just the vastness of the universe and how everything is just placed so perfectly well together, then no, you don't believe in God. No, you don't believe in a God. Like it has to be God, right? It can be nothing else. It's so perfect. How could it just
Without
happen by chance?
trying to start as a Christian saying that's why we have this worldview, science has disproven, Darwinism is
Yes.
just looking at the science would lead you
Right.
to God. And that's what the Bible says.
Right.
You'll
And that's
see his work.
the point we want to make too, is that we're not just saying this because we're Christians. Like it's been proven. Science has proven.
Yeah. And I think, with teaching our kids the Earth's millions of years old, we should teach our kids the science there's consensus for. We have tested and demonstrated over and over again, and we should, use the best common theory that is backed up by science to teach our kids. But if something has been disproven, you shouldn't be teaching it to our kids.
Right. Right.
When you look at radiometric dating, there's multiple different ways to do radiometric dating, multiple different isotopes that decay. We take these decay rates and we can kind of go back in time and look what is left from the parent and the daughter atom in ratios and see, have a good idea of how long we think these things were originated. The problem is you're using multiple assumptions, and these assumptions, you know, they can't be proven. So, no one was around a million years ago to tell us when this rock was created from
Right.
lava, right? When these dinosaur bones were created. So we have radiocarbon dating, C14 dating. It's in the C14 is in the air and it's breathed into animals. And as we die, we slowly start losing that C14. It has half-life, so we know the rate at which it degrades. But they think it should be gone in 50,000 years. Well, the problem is we can find C14 left in dinosaur bones and coal beds. We can find it in diamonds, and the evolutionists will just say, oh, well, it's contamination. It's contaminating diamonds, the hardest stone on earth. The point is, if you are going to just claim contamination when the results don't go towards your beliefs, you'll throw it out.
Right.
But we're supposed to believe those about what you want us to believe. The Earth's
Right.
billions of years old.
I'm really excited. I know we have another episode that we're going to talk deep into fossils and all of that, which is really cool, but I'm really excited about that. But what about why, when we think about it, why is it important that our kids are taught correctly about the age of the earth? Why does that matter, the age of the earth?
Well, it gets right at the heart of, can God even exist or not? Because
Right.
all our kids are told is the Earth's millions of years old. Kids just automatically assume there can't be a God, and that it doesn't make sense from the beginning. And I don't want to teach kids that we know the Earth's young. I want them to hear both sides of the argument, and that's the problem. We don't teach our kids what to think, or excuse me, how to think these days. We teach them what to think.
Yeah.
We do not teach them how to discern and have discernment and really dig in deep into these things. I wasn't around 6,000 years ago either to tell you how things happen, but we can both look at the arguments and decide for ourselves what is true. But right now, our kids are being force fed one worldview of materialism that is godless, and they don't understand that there are very good data points to look at to show that the Earth might be young, to show that these things have intelligent design by them. And I can't wait to talk about intelligent design and just irreducible complexity and how multiple things show that you have to have everything in place or it just doesn't work. You can't go step by step to build a mousetrap. Michael Behe has his book, Darwin's Black Box, that talks about that. And it is just impressive. You can't have, just in layman's terms, you have a mousetrap with 5 or 6 basic parts. Well, if one of the parts is gone, the whole thing doesn't work. You can't get one part at a time. It's not going to, through natural selection, be passed down.
Right.
So can't wait to get it.
Yeah. And I mean, going back to exactly, like, evolution is a religion, not a science.
It's their worldview.
It is a worldview, and Fortunately, some people are taught that growing up, but then a lot of people are just believing that because I think it's easier to brush it off and believe that than it is to
It
put
gives
your whole
us
faith in God.
vindication for whatever we want to do, act however you want to feel. And if it's not displayed in our culture today, do whatever you want, act however you feel, be the person that you want to be.
Right.
There are no, foundational truths to life, then do whatever you want to do. Feels good, do it.
Right.
Uh,
Which puts us back as being animals, right? And they're telling us that we're coming from apes. Like, I mean, to me, that's a lack of self-respect. That's degrading to me. It tells me I came from an ape. I'm not an intelligent being and I can act like an animal and get away with it. Like that's bad. I mean, again, it takes away that moral compass. It's just laziness, I think, and it's disrespect.
Well, think how we're dividing people in our culture today based on race.
Right.
If you believe in evolution, things where all these things lead to. Hitler's thrown around a lot today, but if there are no moral truths, was he wrong for killing people? He was making the perfect Aryan race. He was getting rid of any type of LGBTQ person. He was getting rid of anyone with a deformity. He was getting rid of the Jews, and he was selectively breeding blonde hair, blue eye kids. Was that wrong of him?
He thought he was right.
And if that's what he thought was right, it is right because he was trying to guide and help guide evolution, Darwinian evolution, and help guide it into the perfect being. Or African Americans, white people, Hispanics, Asians. Are we a different species? Are we? And what does that mean? I believe that we all came from a man and a woman that God created, and they were created perfect, and we've had a lot of genetic mutations, caused a lot of issues over the time. It kind of gets at a lot of moral questions in our culture today, because we're not different species. We're all the same. We're not different races. We have different cultures, but there's one race, the human race, and
right.
God loves us all.
That's right. We are not apes. We are not massive cells popped out of nowhere. It's ridiculous.
Science hasn't even proven that you can get the macromolecules to make up a cell. They won't come together. So James Tour of Rice University, organic chemist and just brilliant man, has just not a religious challenge at all, but just a challenge to all the scientists that are renowned and very brilliant. He's like, I need you to start. I'll give you the monomers. I'll give you the amino acids. I'll give you some lipids. I will give you basic carbohydrates. I want you just to make macromolecules, not the cell. We've never proven the ability to make a cell from inorganic material, but you say you can get an amino acid, but I want you to make protein. I want you to go just a little further and show that these things are necessitated for life can be made. Because when they did Miller-Urey experiments, like I said, they get left-handed and right-handed amino acids. It's almost like a signature of God. All life only uses left-handed amino acids. These, without getting too in the weeds, these proteins, amino acids have side chains that dictate how they're going to react with each other. And the way chemistry works, they will never make some of these complex proteins that are needed for life on their own. They have to be guided. And there's chicken and egg problems everywhere. Yeah. And DNA is just so complex. It's 3.2 billion bases long, base pairs. And it's just the most complex code that acts in three-dimensional shape. It's not like you're just reading through a line we'd see on a book. It picks and chooses different parts, puts them together. Well, how does it know how to choose what? There's epigenetics that are proteins that had to be coded already that tell it what to turn on and what to read at different times based on what is going on inside the cell and what the body needs.
Honestly, it's so fascinating and it's so complex, that it cannot, like I said, it has to be God. It cannot be happenstance. It's too, complexity of it is too vast. And, we're going to have a whole episode on DNA as well. Like it's just, we can go on and on for days about that, right?
Well, evolution is the God of time, chaos and time, opposite of our Lord, but evolution has the God of chaos and time. They believe given enough time, we can make these things happen. kids are taught. They just need more time.
Right.
But time doesn't create anything. It's just all the things they teach about evolution in the school books have just been one by one dismantled over the last 30, 40 years. And, but we're still teaching it as fact,
Right.
it's that first little drink from the cup of
Yeah.
natural sciences, and we're not getting to the
And
bottom.
for the scientists that did get to the bottom of it and that are exposing that this is false teaching. And, these are not Christians. These are scientists
They'll
that,
be ostracized.
yeah, it's not put
They
into
will
the
be
mainstream. But the
ostracized.
mainstream is
If they're ostracized, is that us really doing science, or are we having a presuppositions, a worldview that we cannot have challenged?
right.
Um, there's a movie called No Intelligence Allowed, that was, I believe, done in the 2000s. And it's crazy. Richard Dawkins, one of the most profound and well-known evolutionists, and atheist, just mocks the belief in God. When he was presented with a few challenges, like, have we seen any mutations that actually are beneficial and add to the genetic complexity? He asked to turn the camera off.
Wow.
When he asked, well, could DNA have come from asteroid aliens? He's like, well, yeah, it could have. Cool. Could it come from God? Well, no,
Why not?
because
I mean, both are such drastic views. Like, if one is an extreme, then so is the other.
I find pushing the burden of proof off to aliens as being much more extreme than believing in a creator. To put everything into perfect balance, all the laws of nature, morality, just life itself.
So I'm gonna not now. We'll do another episode about this because it's a whole other talk that maybe I can leave. But when we talk about, spirituality and people who are getting into, the new age spiritualism, like it's in their beliefs and how they are still anti-God, right? Like they're still atheists and they don't believe any of this, yet their beliefs are so far extreme in the spiritual realm that it's just wrong. It's just wrong. And they're being misguided. And, it's so easy to fall into. But why is it so hard to just believe in God? Like, when that is he's the clear answer. Like, honestly, in my opinion, but of course, I was raised in a Christian home too. Believing that God created everything is easier for me. I mean, it's the answer to everything. But for somebody who wasn't
Well, they
raised in a
think it's
Christian home,
intellectually too easy, and we're being unintellectual by just saying, "Oh, God did it."
mhm,
But when you look into the science of everything, it really shows a creator. Things having similarities don't prove they came from one another. They prove a designer.
right,
The tricycle didn't, want to get faster and need to get away from something and turn into a three-wheeler, and then it
oh
wanted
my
to
gosh,
fly,
you're talking
and it
about
turned
evolution.
turned into a airplane. They all have three wheels. Having similarities between something doesn't prove that one came from another.
Right,
It proves that there is an engineer, and that's the best way to make something.
right.
And that's what we have, is a common engineer who made everything.
Exactly.
So
It's really miraculous. Yeah, we're all made in God's image. Well, thank you. Hopefully, you guys got a lot out of this talk. We're really excited to bring some other topics to the table for you later in future episodes. So make sure that you come back. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Share this with anybody that might be interested as well. And we will see you on the next episode.